That's what I call pro talk. When you really don't know the answer, you just make it up.
My rut is that I am in a rut.
To get the pilot of Red Arrow going. This is really a way to skip class.
I want to say, hey, those boys right there are entertainers.
There you go. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said on this podcast.
Alex Rutledge here with American Roots Outdoors TV.
Hey, this is Lee and Tiffany Lukoski from the Crush TV.
Hi, I'm Don Higgins.
This is Jeff Lindsay.
Hey, everybody, this is Mark Drury with Drury Outdoors.
Hey, this is Craig Fitz of Trained Assassins TV. You're listening to Dave and JP on Pro Talk Outdoors, the craziest two I know.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pro Talk Outdoors. We're coming to you from the ATA show. I don't know what the booth number is because I can't count past 4 or 5 anyway, but we're hanging out here with Real World Wildlife Products. We got Terry Peer at the table. He's about to come on in just a moment, and then we're going to have Don and Wes come on as well. Going to be a pretty exciting day for us, just lounging around. ATA Year 3 is a lot different than it was Year 1, and I remember recording one of these the very first time we went.
Yeah. This is a lot better than it was the first time we went. I mean,
I'm way more relaxed.
Yeah, it's overwhelming for somebody that just walks in here for the first time because
sure.
It's kind of like, you've never been to Las Vegas?
No, never.
All right, I've been to Las Vegas, and it's like the lights there, they just blow you away. Like as soon as you come in, like if you're landing at night and you come into Las Vegas, there's lights everywhere, and you're just like sensory overload. It's just like your head just kind of explodes.
That's tough for a guy that's colorblind.
You can still see lights. Yeah. Anyway, so as Lee Lukoski and Tiffany Lukoski come by and grab this huge shed
that was
here.
a shameless name drop.
Well, they're right there.
I don't see that. I have to turn around.
Anyway, so it's kind of like the same thing. You come to the ATA show, there's everybody here. I mean, there's so many new projects. Some of them are a little gadgety and kind of
there's some gimmicky things. I tell you, but the cool thing for me is it's just a networking opportunity.
Absolutely.
You get to come around here and meet folks you've never met, but maybe you've seen before, or run into folks you've never heard of and find out, hey, that's a real stand-up guy.
And some of the best folks in the world that you could possibly ever work with or get to know are the guys at Real World Wildlife Products.
Absolutely.
We've had a long-standing relationship. I say long-standing as long as we've been around. And, they've got a booth set up here, signing up some new dealers, getting some more information out about the products, and having a pretty successful show, I think.
It looks to be a raging success to me. I see a lot of smiles on faces, and I think that's usually a pretty good way to gauge whether they're having a good time or not. But I think that's a perfect time to transition and jump into some of this and talk to the guys from Real World. We'll be back. You're listening to Pro Talk Outdoors. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pro Talk Outdoors. JP here. Dave stepped aside to run the board, but I'm joined with Don Higgins and Wes Delks. And we're gonna open up with you, Don. I wanted to ask you, last time we had you on the podcast, we kind of had three parts we talked about with big changes in related to you. And one of those we touched on was the new development at Real World Wildlife Products, branching out, adding a general manager that is dynamic. What kind of things is Wes going to bring to this team?
Well, for one thing, youth. I'm getting up there in years, although I'm probably not ready to retire yet. But I'm a long way from being 20 years old, and Wes can relate to the youth a whole lot better than I can. He also has a lot of experience in the ag industry. And, as far as a food plot seed company, we're probably the food plot seed company that's closest to an ag seed company. We look at we build our blends around that seed tag instead of the pretty buck on the bag, and Wes has a lot of experience in that area that really helps. He's come up with some great ideas. We're testing new products based on some of Wes's ideas, and he's going to take this company a step forward, I have no doubt.
What about something like the ATA show? You mentioned a step forward. How crucial are things like this to growing not only your dealer network, but almost your social network, your group of contacts and folks that can really key in on Real World as a resource in this industry?
Right. It's, it starts with social media. I can't even tell you how many people in the last 2 days have stopped by that are like friends on social media that I've never met in person. And a lot of that starts on social media, but then it takes the next step in person. and they become customers because they get to know you. So we're trying to build the brand while we're here, as well as sign up new dealers. And it's just it's like a chain with multiple links. You know, they all kind of join together, and if one of those links is broken or something, it kind of affects the whole chain.
Sure. Now, what about having Wes here for that kind of thing? I mean, do you think that really adds to it, bringing his voice and his knowledge and introducing him to folks that maybe he wasn't exposed to prior to ATA?
Yeah, it's good for him to meet our a lot of our dealers are here, have stopped in, new dealers, and just customers, you know, that have been purchasing seed from us for years. It's good for them to see Wes and meet him firsthand, see how genuine he is. I mean, he's just an honest, down-to-earth guy like we are, like you guys are, and he's a perfect fit for that. But you know, these younger guys or younger folks that are walking through the show, they see a guy they can relate to more than a gray-haired old guy like me. So, you know, Wes is an outgoing guy. If somebody's walking by and staring at our booth, he's going to step out and shake their hand and introduce himself. So it's a great experience for him, and it's helping build the company and the brand.
I think that's a great segue, Wes. I wasn't able to be in Illinois when the other fellows had met you last year, and it's a pleasure to finally get to do that yesterday. And I have to say, you're very outgoing. You walk up, you know, you're a bright guy. You can tell by looking at you that you're engaging. So, you know, I think you've obviously got that going for you as well. But man, how awesome is it to be here and get to meet all these people? And, you know, is it kind of a dream come true for you?
Very much so, JP. I'm excited to be here. This is my 4th ATA show, but the last 3 I've been with the press or media badge that you get as doing magazine articles as an outdoor writer, and this is my first time on this side of the ATA show having a booth. So it's different, but I've enjoyed doing it, and it's good to meet some existing dealers and find some new ones.
You know, you and I were talking before we hit record here just about the path and the journey you walk in life, and how following the signs can turn you away from something that may be good but not quite right, and then will ultimately lead you to something that's meant to be. Do you think that is kind of what happened here?
I'm a firm believer that where I'm at today is from God, and that my path is we've trusted, my wife and I, Madison, we've trusted that God would provide for us, and there were some opportunities in life that we thought might be the right direction, but God had something better for us, and Real World is that thing. So it is a dream come true.
Well, tell me a little bit about your background. Obviously, you've got a lot of ties in the agriculture industry before you joined Real World Wildlife Products, and I think you went to that other school in Indiana that I don't like to talk about.
Boiler up.
Purdue, the toilet makers. But tell me a little bit about your background.
Yep, so I'm from Rossville, Indiana, a small town, about a half an hour away from that great school that we call Purdue University. So I majored in wildlife, and at a young age, my dad told me if you want to do something you love, that you won't work another day in your life. And when I was in high school, I started working for a deer farm, and that progressed into buying deer and helping out on a captive industry for 7 years, and learned a lot through that. And then with my wildlife degree, I ended up in the ag industry at a seed testing location, and I wanted to get as much wildlife things incorporated into that job as I could, and so I started reaching out to some food plot seed companies while I was at that location, and did different types of seed testing and food plot trials, and really added to my knowledge that in seed and food plots.
And what did you find in those trials in specificity to Real World? I mean, what did you see there with that product?
Well, Real World's motto is dare to compare.
Sure.
And a lot of those trials were testing different varieties or mixes, new products. Some of the companies would be southern companies, and they wanted to see what one of their products would look like in a Midwestern soil or different type of location. So the information I got from that was sometimes confidential and needed to keep it in between the company and myself, but at other times I was gaining a lot of information that I was able to put into Mossy Oaks Gamekeepers magazine, or talk about just things like food plot shape and screening, or different Obviously, you guys are familiar with the real world beans and how the difference in between why real world beans are our best seller compared to some of the other soybeans on the market. So it was those types of things that I was learning while I was there.
You know, as a contemporary in age, I think you and I are the same age. Are you 28 yet?
27.
27. Okay, so am I. It's amazing to me all the great, applicable experience you have. It makes me feel like I haven't been doing quite enough in my years leading up to this. It's
blessed,
very impressive.
Blessed, yep.
I want to ask a question of both of you here before we move to the next segment and let Terry talk specifically about marketing. What's the vision that you two have together to move this forward, and what are the plans that you and I, or you two, are going to just collaborate? I can't talk today. Collaborate on over the next couple years. And either one of you can go first. It doesn't matter.
I guess Wes is pointing at me, so I'm going first. But, we just want to – the last half of 2018, we brought on 3 new employees, if you count Wes as one of those employees. And we want to build on everyone's strengths. Every one of our employees has a strength that's different than mine. So, I need to play to those strengths. Terry Peer, for example, he's got a job, where he's in I don't know what you call it, the industry, and he brings some ideas that the rest of us don't have. Stephen, with sales, has some connections there and some experience there that we don't have. So what we're trying to do is lean on everyone's strengths to take this company to the next level.
Sure. What about you, Wes? I mean, is there something you can play off of with Don to accentuate that?
Yep. So Real World was founded, like I mentioned earlier on, that Dare to Compare motto, and we want to be a premium food plot seed products as well as our complete feed and mineral, but we want to be known for quality products. We're not going to release something to people unless we would put it on our own hunting grounds, and we personally believe that it is the best product of that type of product. We could release other products, but if we don't feel comfortable with it, we're not going to release that product. So we want to continue to provide quality products, and we want to listen to our customer base. If we hear people asking for something, we want to seriously consider it and test it and find out if that's something we want to offer. And ultimately, we want to continue to provide great whitetail quality products and make sure that our company is always God-centered and full of integrity.
I think that says it all right there, fellas. I want to thank Don Higgins and Wes Delks for coming on for this segment. We're going to step aside for a break and talk to Terry Peer. We'll be back. You're listening to Pro Talk Outdoors. Welcome back to Pro Talk Outdoors. JP and Dave bringing it to you from the ATA show. And we're joined now by Terry Peer. Terry, what kind of show are you guys having? You getting dealers signed up? What's it like out here this year?
Yeah, I mean, the ATA show overall is a great opportunity for us to get to see everybody in the industry. But, the misconception is we're here to sell.
Sure.
This is our opportunity to really take care of our end user customer by finding dealers as close to them as possible. We're trying to ship 50-pound bags of product all around the country, and we know what that does to, our end users having to pay those shipping costs.
Right.
So our ultimate goal is to come here and meet great people from around the country that want to carry our products in their stores. And what that does is that helps obviously grow our company, but in the end, we're taking care of our customers by putting that product as local as we can to them and save them shipping. So that's the real reason we're here. It's great to, see people that we haven't seen all year come by and get an update on what they were able to harvest this year, what they saw. That's a great part of the show, the networking side. But we're really here to sell. That's our primary goal, and being at this show is to find new dealers. And
it had been a few years since you were here, right?
Yeah. Last year we made a strategic decision. If you remember, we released the whitetail-specific probiotic in our Expect Healthy Deer technology last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to the ATA. But Don and our other team members went to the Top 30 Deer Auction, which is a captive deer, deer farming industry show, because that is such a perfect niche and product for what deer farmers use. So we made a strategic decision last year that as far as our booth, we were going to that show, and then I came here and took care of a few meetings and stuff like that. So. But this year we're back. Our main focus this year, we've kind of reorganized the company to where we're focusing on getting dealers. That's our top priority, is getting this product as close to our end users as we can.
And you normally like to have one dealer within a 30-mile radius. So if anybody listening to this is interested in carrying Real World Wildlife products, they should know, they should get on there and check, or they should just get in touch and see if it's a good fit.
So there's a dealer locator that is pretty nice. You can type in your zip code or address, and it'll plot them out on a map. But it's a rule of thumb. If you're in a big city, 30 miles can withstand a couple dealers. If you're in rural central, Arkansas, where you have 700 people per town, that's a different story. So it's a rule of thumb that we go by, but we look at every situation and evaluate it and try to work within, the right boundaries to be conscious to our customers and our dealers too. They're part of our family. But yeah, if you have a local feed store, a taxidermist, bow shop that you think would be a great fit for our product, give us a call and we'll make contact with it.
I don't think we'd be doing a service. I mean, I know we talk about the seed blends and everything often on our podcast, but on this particular episode, I think we need to mention the education that Real World does with folks, and actually making sure that they know what they're doing when they're planting these food plots. And it's not just a go to a big box store, grab a bag of seed, and you're on your own. Yeah, there's plenty of information out there. Seed tag education, know what's in that bag, the percentage of seed you're getting, how to plant it, when to plant it. All that stuff's available, and there's a lot of information that Real World shares with everybody out there. You're not just buying a bag and the relationship's over.
And you'll see that a lot in our marketing effort, because if this is Media Kit Central. There's people walking through here, wanting pro staffs and that type of thing. And one of the biggest things I do in evaluating pro staff, we've talked about this in the past, is I'll go back and look at their history. If it's NASCAR style product placement where we just look at logos on shirts and say, I use Depends, they're the best adult diaper in the world.
He's going to get red in the face. You keep it up.
You should use them too.
Hitting close to home here.
That's not our style. That's not our style. We have to sell our product through education, and we partner with people who are able to educate and tell the message of the science involved. I've told a couple people here at the show that walked by, to my knowledge, we're the only hunting industry product or company that sells to the livelihood of farmers in the deer farming industry. And that says a lot about the science involved, but that same science applies to us as hunters. I'm not a deer farmer. I don't even go to those shows. But knowing the science that the people whose livelihood, house payments rely on the health of that animal and how many inches of antler they can put on that head, but yet we're using that in the hunting industry to not only increase my chances of raising, keeping, and harvesting that animal, but making the health of the herd stronger. That's what we're into. And if we can't find the dealers, the pro staffs, the people that are able to articulate that, then they're not the right fit for us.
Well, I think that's a perfect time to segue into the marketing strategy for 2019. You guys are doing, am I correct, a three-part kind of three-prong attack on getting information out to folks who may or may not be on the fence, and show them exactly why this is the right choice for their deer management.
Well, it's actually four-part. That's what makes it even more exciting. So what our followers are going to be able to be part of is a continuation of what Don Higgins did on his personal Facebook post last year called the Rut Report, where every night he came in from the field and kind of explained what he saw. This was a really weird year with warm weather. With warm weather through the rut, we were seeing, bucks bump does in mid-October because we had that first cold. We don't think the does were in heat, but that cold weather sure got them froggy early, and then it just stopped. And then
it was like a long trickle.
We're sitting here at ATA, and I think a couple of days ago it was 62 degrees in Kentucky and Indiana.
Yet
and
some
now
people have already found sheds.
Now we got snow coming in, so that interaction and that content that Don was putting out there that a land manager and hunter uses, I think was really vital. So it really got us thinking of how can we continue that interaction with our following. So it is a 4-part series that's going to go out, and my goal is to try to give something tangible and interesting to different people, because there's some people that just aren't into the style and intensity of land management like Don Higgins. I mean,
Right.
I've hunted on Don Higgins' farm. It's the most strictest managed property, I'm pretty confident, in the country when it comes to that. But there's some people that doesn't appeal to. So I've tried to take a step back and say, what are 4 different real diverse things that we can offer to our following, maybe once a week, every month, that they can follow along, and it has appeal to them. And the first one, if you go to our blog now, Don's Difference Makers is already up and published, the first one for January. And this is Don Higgins's, not real world commercial, but things that Don does to increase his chances, whether he's hunting on his home farm or one of his other properties that he chases whitetails on. Just true tactics, from entrance exit points to bedding. Him promoting cover is just as important as him promoting food a lot of times when he talks to his contacts. So that's already out. The second one that I'm excited about is called Shipley Science.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Clifford Shipley is on staff. He's retired from the University of Illinois. He's here in the booth with us, and just a super great guy. I hope you guys have him on a podcast here soon.
Can't wait to have him on a podcast.
He agreed yesterday.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, once a month, Dr. Shipley is going to write a little blog for us that explains physiologically, I don't even know if that's the right word, but I'm trying to talk over my pay grade. But from a deer's health perspective, what is that animal struggling with? In January, what's it struggling with? In February, what's it struggling with? And, it might be does that are carrying fawns, and it might be lactation. It might be later in the summer with diseases or insects. From his perspective as a vet, he can give us just advice that the normal hunter just doesn't appreciate. Because, there's a large majority of us that go in and start thinking about deer hunting 30 days before season starts. And we need to understand what that deer's dealing with at all times of the year, and try to make decisions that we can afford to do on our property that benefit that.
So won't only be, I'm assuming, just what are the challenges that those deer are facing at that time, how can we help that and get them through that difficult period?
Yeah, exactly. And it may or may not even be a product that we have at Real World, but this is education that we want that land manager to know. It might be more habitat related. I don't know. He's the genius when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I think the people out there that are really into understanding the health of an animal and how it relates to it, they're going to love that. The third thing we're going to do is we have a friend of ours that's in Kansas, and this guy is in his late 20s, and he is a 4th generation row crop farmer, beans and corn. He is now taking over the family business. And when I talk large-scale farming, I talk large-scale farming. And he has every resource that he can even imagine from an agriculture standpoint. And he's a big hunter and land manager. And one of the things in the first conversations that I remember him saying was, if my goal is to get the most amount of bushel of beans out of an acre of property, there's a strategy for that from an agriculture standpoint. If my goal is to get a mature buck on its feet in daylight hours out into an area where I can harvest him, that's a different strategy, and it's even a different product. This guy is tested, even though he's very young, he is tested and done thousands of different things because of his resources as a row crop farmer, but yet he still buys our product to hunt over. And it's just a huge testament.
Volumes.
So he's going to go into what are the real differences, and this is going to be a video blog that'll post once a month, and go into actually what he sees from a row crop farmer's perspective and how a land management, but how the things that are testing in our products changes when it comes to getting mature whitetail on their feet and patterned in daylight hours. That's really the name of the game.
That should be somebody that everyone can relate to. I mean, he's a regular dude. You've ran into him at Tractor Supply before, kind of thing, or a dude just like him.
Right.
And if he's feeling that way after all those years, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's just it's a different spin on the guy that thinks he can go and buy a bag of beans that his farmer had left over and he's going to have as good results. Now, all of us understand if you're planting something, you're doing something good.
Sure.
But you just have to make a decision on, it's a time and investment of what I can afford to do to get it the best I can. And everybody has that dilemma that we deal with in the real world. But we want to educate people on the true difference behind it so they can make the best decision. You know, we're the only company that does Dare to Compare. We encourage you to put our product beside other people. So that's going to be a really good video blog that comes out once a month. The fourth thing that it makes me more proud than anything else as being part of the Real World family is this is a Christian-based company. And it always has been. We've been on the foundation of what we believe. And Wes Delks, our new general manager that was on the podcast earlier, you know, people are going to meet him as they go out, and he is just a
super guy,
very super young man. I've gotten to know him a whole lot closer the last couple months. But his faith in Christ is one of the most important things to him. So the fourth aspect of this is Wes bringing just a little bit of a kind of mini devotion or just a spiritual thing and how it relates to us as outdoorsmen for people to follow along when they're following it. So every month we're going to have 4 touches that's completely to a different topic or different demographic, but using it as a way that people learn and get better about their ideas, tactics that they use. And, you know, people are not naive. They know it's going to promote our product when it can, but that's not the major goal.
It's a soft sell.
We're trying to teach people the true science of what we've learned over the years and how they can make a difference in their herd.
Well, and I think that it kind of goes without saying, or maybe it doesn't, but everything that Real World's ever done that I've noticed or been involved in, just a group of great guys that love to hunt deer and love to manage their properties. And I've heard it said many times, off of mics, away from social media, just shooting the breeze between the guys here. Hey, if I could find something that worked better, I'd use it.
Yeah, people don't understand. I'm not exaggerating. I think I tested 6 different products this hunting season. And they are the balance of what we ordered as test product when we come up with an idea is on a skid on one of our properties that we could have brought to this show and sold, but we don't have the confidence as where it needs to be, and we're not selling it. I could sell it and make money on it today.
Yeah.
Put it on that website, but I refuse to do it because it's not where I need that product to be.
It's about the result, not the bottom line.
Absolutely. The integrity of this organization and the 2 owners is why I'm here. You know, I believe in the company, I believe in the brand, but more importantly, I believe in the 2 owners and the integrity that stands behind this. And they will not allow us to bring a product to market unless we are absolutely 100% sure it's where it needs to be and can add benefit to a land manager or a hunter.
I think that's the period on the end of the sentence right there. I mean, in a nutshell, that's what the entire thing is about. And if you can't relate to that, man, why are you hunting? You know, why are you out there? No. So I admire it. I know Dave does as well.
Absolutely.
And we're going to take a break, come back, and wrap this up. You're listening to Pro Talk Outdoors at ATA 2019. Hey, everybody. We're going to put a bow on this at ATA, JP and Dave. We just had 2 great segments, one with Terry Peer, another with Wes and Don, the two-headed juggernaut of real-world wildlife products. It's really awesome to me, just the message that they continue to send. I think the four-pronged system that they're going to approach their marketing strategy with this year is exemplary. And I think most of all, the underlying message that they've given for years is, sure, you can do something good, but why not do it better? Dare to compare and put the best thing out there that you can. Making a difference is great, but making the most difference is the right choice.
Quality with Real World is second to none. Education with Real World is second to none. I was telling last night we went to dinner, and I was talking with Wes, and we were just kind of catching up a little bit about, you know, my background, his background, you know, getting to know him a little bit better. And one of the things that I told him about was a story years ago before I had ever planted a food plot. I was walking around the old Louisville Deer and Turkey Expo, and I saw a small booth. This was back in the infancy of Real World Wildlife Products. There was a small booth there, and actually former co-owner and founder Kevin Boyer was there working the booth. And I walked up, and Kevin kind of gave me, hey, you ever plant a food plot? No, I haven't. I don't know what I'm doing. He spent lots of time educating me. and took the time to give me the ins and outs of food plots and what might be better for me, what might not be better for me. He gave me a DVD to take home with me called Food Plot Reality. I still have that thing. It's tremendous. But it was 100% about educating me. And I didn't have a show. I wasn't anybody special. I'm still not anybody special.
Just old Dave.
Just old Dave walking around wanting to plan a food plot. And the time that Kevin took with me then, Don has taken with us, and any time we've had a question, Wes now, Terry, everybody, it's all about taking care of the customer. And it's not just a customer. It's a friendly network. Always educating. What's on your seed tag? What's the best time to plant? What should you plant in situations? How can you translate that to a hunting situation? I mean, if you go to the big box store and you buy something that's just got a big deer on there, and you think it may be the best thing for you, you're probably doing yourself a disservice because you didn't read that seed tag. You don't know exactly how many seeds you're getting, how to plant it, what to do, how to hunt it.
When you go to the grocery store and you see something maybe that you've never seen, are you going to grab it, buy it, put it in your cart, take it home, cook it, and eat it without just trying to figure out what it is? Well, heck no, you're not.
If it's grapes, I'm going to taste test those bad boys before I go anywhere with them.
But, I mean, if it's something you've never seen before, something that's foreign to you, you're going to want to know what it is before you put it in your body.
Right.
Well, why would it not be any different for the whitetail herd that you're obviously trying to cultivate in your area? I mean, it's not like they're trying to sell this stuff to a guy who's not interested in being a quality land manager or a conservationist. They're keen on the guy that cares about this. And if you really care, look into it, man. Read the tag. Dare to compare.
Absolutely.
It's just an incredible company with a great vision and just a really great set of heads on their shoulders. So it's a pleasure to come and be a part of this episode and hang out in their booth for a little while and as always, use their products because, hey, we're a couple guys who care about what ends up out there.
Absolutely.
So for Dave, for Don, for Wes, for Terry, I'm JP. Until next time, hook 'em or hunt 'em. Pro Talk Outdoors.
Later, guys.